Well, it's all about the evils of trade, right? May trade data out this week didn't necessarily move our economic needle, but of course it will be the major issue for the race to the White House. Now, Mexico and China, public enemies number 1 and 2. Well, Americans are pondering if somehow we could take that combined $157 billion trade deficit that we've got so far this year and pump it back into our own economy. Now, obviously, the money is there, right? But the question is whether people will spend that kind of dough on items at much higher prices in the name of patriotism. Overall, the trade deficit is getting back to normal levels after a major dip in March and April. That was on imports. At the end of the day, large trade deficits are a sign of a nation's wealth, however. So joining me now with this complexing issue, Todd Buchholz. He is the author of the book in my hand, The Price of Prosperity. Todd, thanks for joining me. It's always about the economy, and this year it's going to be more focused on trade. Both candidates, by the way, sort of, shaping their campaigns around this. You wrote the book, Price of Prosperity. What is that price?
Well, the fact is, U.S. consumers in general benefit from trade. Obviously, we get iPhones and other things that are of higher quality and lower price, but there's a cost to that. There is no doubt that Bernie Sanders, Donald Trump have tapped into something, this deep anxiety about company towns closing down, companies offshoring jobs, and that's real. And I think, frankly, for too many years, those of us who are in favor of free trade may have ignored a lot of victims. The free market is not a pain-free market, and we have to recognize that, and that's what the American people are demanding.
They are demanding it, but, it doesn't always mean that it's right. So you said those of us who were in favor of free trade, you've changed your mind a little bit on this. What's the answer? Is there a magic cure here, or do we go into a situation where we repeat history? Because I wanted to let you know today, Christine Lagarde in Financial Times says that Trump-style protectionism would hurt the economy. In fact, she said it would bring back the 1914. In other words, not only were there massive a trade war there, but it sparked World War I. I mean, are we talking about consequences that dire?
No. Look, I'm still in favor of free trade, but free trade has gotten caught up in globalization, which means more than trade. This is why the Brits voted to leave the European Union. It's about all the regulations. It's about giving up your sovereignty. It's about, for instance, trading with China, but permitting China to manipulate its currency in order to steal jobs from Americans. So I think we need a much more sophisticated view of globalization, even though we still should be in favor of allowing Americans to buy and sell to whomever they want. On top of that, Charles, I also think we have to ask ourselves, is our education system preparing young people to engage in a modern globalized world? And the fact is our education system has failed us. American bureaucrats have failed us, and that puts our children at risk when they try to get jobs and compete with foreigners.
You conclude the book by saying, do not go gentle. Of course, I think you're referring, do not go gentle into that good night. What does it mean? What kind of a fight are we looking at? And should Americans know that maybe we could win a trade war, but it won't be without casualties?
I don't think the answer is to put up barriers and prevent Americans from buying foreign goods. But we ought to be knocking down barriers that other countries put in front of us. And I'm afraid that we haven't done that. And in addition, we shackle ourselves. President Obama, early in his administration, forbade Boeing from making jets in South Carolina. Why? Because Obama wanted to protect union jobs in the state of Washington. That made Boeing jets more expensive, less attractive to foreign buyers. So we're shooting ourselves, not just in the foot, but in the hand and in the head. And so we've got to remove barriers that we impose, in addition to tearing down barriers that other countries have imposed on our exports.
Todd Buchholz, The Price of Prosperity. Thanks a lot, Todd. Appreciate it.